Hello, hope you're having a great day. Now recently I was asked by a member of my girlfriend Kat's family to share with them my fitness regime, everything I do to keep in shape. Shout out to you, Seb, if you're watching. But yeah, I sat down yesterday and my aim was to basically type out my fitness plan to Seb through Instagram, and I sort of realised that it would be quite hard to put into words. So I thought, you know what, I'll make an on-track video about my fitness regime, go into quite a lot of detail about what I do on a day-to-day basis to keep myself in relatively decent shape. And I can just send him a link to this video. So before I start, I must stress that I'm not a fitness expert. Everything I do is, what I've learned through trial and error, what I've learned by listening to people online. There are certain aspects of my regime that I know isn't optimal, but, I'm not looking to get as big as I possibly can. I'm not looking to wring every bit of gains out of every rep that I do in the gym. Most of my fitness stuff is more to do with my mind than it is my body, but the byproduct is that I end up in relatively decent shape. I'm not super lean, I love to eat, my diet isn't on point, and as I say, my fitness regime isn't 100% optimal, but I'm in decent shape. I think I'm in the best shape of my life, not only physically but also mentally, and I feel strong, and I just feel like my body's more useful to me. I feel good in my own skin. I don't feel weak. I don't feel unable to navigate life. And I think for me, that's what fitness is all about. It's more about my mind, but the byproduct is that you end up with a half decent body, and other people notice it, which makes you feel good about yourself, and it just spirals. So yeah, in this video I'm going to go into quite a lot of detail about my fitness regime, because it is quite repetitive. I basically do the same things week to week. Now obviously there's things to sort of take into consideration. Whatever your regime is in terms of how many reps or sets you're doing of any given exercise, the idea is to progress as time goes on. Progressive overload, whether it be adding a rep or adding a bit of weight as things become easier, so that you are sort of progressing. Now I could probably progress a bit faster than I am, but as I say, I'm not looking to wring every bit of gain out of every rep that I do. But I do sort of slowly, incrementally up the weights on my exercises, or add a rep here and there. But I would say that in general I do quite lightweight and quite high rep training in the gym. Not super lightweight and not super high rep, but most of my workouts, most of my sets in the gym fall somewhere between 10 and 15 reps. Now, some people like to go in the gym and just, when they're doing bench press or whatever, they like to lift as much as they can for one rep, and that's fine. And there's some people who go in the gym and do even more reps than I do, even lighter weight, comparable than I do, and more reps. But I think being roughly in between 10 and 15 reps means that you're lifting enough weight that you don't feel like you're not lifting heavy enough weight, but at the same time it's light enough that you're relatively low risk of being injured. Now obviously you can get injured doing any exercise, and it is important to watch your form and stuff. And again, everything I've learned is from YouTube. If you're looking to add exercises to your regime, or if you're looking to start exercising because you don't already exercise, and if you don't already exercise somewhat on a daily basis, you utterly should be, because your fitness is the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to self-improvement. I'm sorry, but it is. That's something that I truly believe. If you are not exercising on a daily basis somewhat, then you are below the very low bar that keeping yourself in shape is. It is the lowest hanging fruit. And if you want to go on in life and get good at being social, get good at attracting the opposite sex, if you want to get good at business, then you need to sort your fitness out first, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule. I'm sure there's loads of really fat, unhealthy businessmen that are millionaires, but, you know, in general, your fitness is the lowest hanging fruit, and, you know, it's something that you ought to be on top of somewhat, and yeah, it just leaks into other areas of your life, in my opinion. So get yourself in good shape, do some exercise every day, and yeah, as I say, in this video I'm just going to go into what I do on a daily basis. Now, things do chop and change. You know, some days I might miss a gym session and do it the next day, or, you know, switch things around, but my plan, you know, what an ideal week is, you know, I've got in front of me. You know, if anyone's interested, just drop me an email. My email address is in the description, and I'll send you this plan so that you've got it to look at. But ultimately, my sort of fitness, you know, I basically work out twice most days. So I've got my morning workouts and my evening workouts. My morning workouts are mostly working out here at home, apart from a Saturday where my morning workout, although it is 12 midday, you know, my first workout of the day is my boxing class, because on a Saturday my boxing class is at 12 noon, and then I'll do a workout here at home in the evening. But other than that, my morning workouts are here at home and my evening workouts are in the gym. Sometimes, you know, if I'm really pushed for time, I'm really busy and I'm due to do, say, an arm and chest session at the gym, and there's just no way that I'm going to get to the gym. You know, maybe I get home here after work at, you know, working on my cars and whatnot, at 10:15, and the gym shuts at 11, it's not really worth me going. You know, it takes 15 minutes to get there. So then maybe I will bang out an arm and chest session here at home instead, to cover that. But for the most part, my first workouts of the day are here at home. My evening workouts are in the gym, except for a Saturday when I do boxing at 12 noon and then a workout here at home in the evening. Another thing worth noting is that one of the first things I do when I wake up every day is I go for a walk around the block. Now, it's not really about the exercise, but it does count, right? You know, it's, you know, a bit of exercise I'm doing when I haven't got any food in my belly. You know, I do have water when I get up, which again is another really important thing. I mentioned it so many times on the channel, but I've got no food in my belly. I haven't had any coffee, literally just water, bit of salt water, and then I have my vitamin C, which I dissolve in water. And yeah, I only have that because it's not a pill supplement like my other supplements are. So, you know, I dissolve it in water, so I may as well have it in the morning with my water. So, but, you know, apart from that, it's one of the very first things I do in the morning with an empty stomach, etc., etc., and I go for a walk around the block. I don't know exactly how long this walk is, but it's probably somewhere between 3/4 of a mile and a mile. And, you know, I like to wrap up. Even in the summer, I'll put a hoodie on, sometimes put a beanie hat on as well. And, you know, I wouldn't say I power walk it, but it's not a stroll either. You know, I am walking fast enough to, you know, fast enough where it's a little bit difficult to do the whole thing breathing in through my nose. You know, take that as you will. You know, I do come back with a bit of a sweaty back because I do wrap up warm. And if I do it after a leg day, for instance, like I did today, because yesterday evening was leg day in the gym, then yeah, it does ache my legs a little bit. So, you know, not strenuous, but certainly not a slow stroll. So every morning, you know, I do miss days. You know, I'm not perfect, but in an ideal world, every morning I'd go for that walk around the block. And then when I get home, I do some other things that I do as part of my morning routine. I write in a gratitude journal, I have a 10-minute meditation session, and then I crack on with my home workout. And one thing worth noting is that when I'm working out in the gym, I like to do every single set to failure. Right, so as I've already mentioned, you know, I'm trying to be in that 10 to 15 rep range. So I'm doing whatever weight I need to do so that I basically can't bang out a 16th rep, for instance, right? You know, so I get to 15 and that is the last rep that I can basically do, right? It's not always exactly 15, but it's somewhere between 10 and 15, right? So, you know, it's what they call ultimate failure. Now, some people will say that you shouldn't do, you know, sets to ultimate failure on every set. You know, people that are sort of trying to maximize every bit of gains out of every rep will say that you should be about 3 reps away from failure on every set, because then, you know, going to ultimate failure versus going from 3 sets from ultimate failure, you know, you're wasting energy that technically doesn't give you any more muscle growth. So, you know, in theory, you could do more sets in the gym if you stayed 3 reps away from failure than if you went to ultimate failure. But I'm of the belief that when you get to ultimate failure, you know, your mind will always hold you back more than your body, right? You know, when you feel like you're at your limit of anything, you know, your mind is the determining factor. And I believe that if I'm going to ultimate failure on every set, or so it feels, then I'm probably about 3 reps away from ultimate failure. You know, if I was able to overcome my mind telling me how much it hurts and how much I can't do another few reps, I reckon I could be able to. So, you know, I like to go to what feels like ultimate failure on every set in the gym. But that's not the case here at home, it's worth noting. But again, because I'm doing relatively high rep and relatively lightweight, it's probably less dangerous for me to go to that perceived ultimate failure than someone who's just doing 5 reps, you know, because you're doing so much more weight that, you know, your ligaments and your smaller tissues are probably more at risk of injury by you know, trying to go to ultimate failure with heavier weight, you know, going to the ultimate failure of your big muscles that you're focusing on, right? So yeah, that's my strategy. Another thing I like to do is on the last set of every exercise, I do a drop set. So, you know, you've gone to ultimate failure, you know, you can't bang out another rep, but then on the machine, you'll notch it down a couple of notches on the weight, and then you'll bang out what you can do then to failure, which should only be a few reps realistically if you've gone to failure on the heavy weight. And then when you get to failure on that, you knock it down another couple of notches and then go to failure again. So I like to do that on every last set in the gym. And what I used to do, what I don't do now, is, you know, I do 3 working sets on every machine in the gym, right? So on the 3rd set, as I've just mentioned, I do a drop set. So, you know, without a rest. So you get to failure and then straight away, knock it down, go to failure again, knock it down, go to failure again. What I used to do on the 4th set was go up a weight. So you'd bang it out to failure and then rest for a bit and then knock the weight up and then do as many reps as you can, which will be considerably less, and then drop it, you know, past what you were doing before, so lighter than that, and then go to failure and then do it again, drop it and go to failure. So, you know, you do an upset and then a down set. But nowadays I've gone back to doing 3 sets at my working set and then straight away with no rest do 2 drop sets. So yeah, that's worth noting. But in my workouts here at home, I don't really get near to failure. You know, I like to get to the point where I can really feel the pump and stuff, but I don't really, you know, I stray away from ultimate failure in the mornings. You know, my morning workouts and my whole morning routine, to be honest, is more about my mind than, you know, my evening workouts in the gym and stuff. So yeah, it's worth noting that. So, you know, every morning, as I say, after my walk, after I wrote my gratitude journal, after I've meditated, I do a morning workout. So I'm just going to talk you through my week of workouts, right? So on Monday morning, I'll do arms and chest here at home. Now, when I'm doing arms and chest at home, especially on a Monday, because my girlfriend Kat works every Monday, she's not here to, you know, pass me the bar for me to do, you know, bench press, right? Because I've got a bench here and weights and stuff. So, you know, for my chest, and it also does your triceps a bit as well, I'll just do push-ups, you know, push-ups to failure. It's worth noting that when I do my workouts at home, I usually do 3 exercises and only 2 sets of each, right? So I'll bang out some push-ups, and then for an actual tricep exercise, what I used to do is do quite lightweight on a dumbbell and do it behind my head like this and just straighten your arm like this. So triceps extensions. And I learnt this off a guy called Sam Sulek, absolute beast, you know, clearly on steroids, that, you know, sometimes I watch his videos online, and that really does give you a nice pump in your triceps. What I've been doing lately though, kind of because I'm just too lazy to take some weight off of my dumbbells, is I'll lay on the floor with the dumbbell with the heavier weights on it and hold it behind my head like this, you know, so you're not getting as much stretch as you would be able to if you was on the bench, because you'll be able to hang your arms down, but because you're laying on the floor, you can only really get it to here, and then just straighten my arms like this. So again, it's just a sort of triceps extension, and it works okay. You know, the range of movement isn't as ideal as if you were able to go right down, but you know, you get a good pump on your triceps. And then for biceps, I just do bicep curls, and that's part of the reason why I don't bother taking the weight off of the dumbbell to do the triceps, because then it means that I've got the 2 dumbbells with the heavier weight on, so I can do both arms at the same time with the biceps. Whereas if I drop the weight so that I can do this one with the triceps, I've got to do 1 arm at a time instead of doing 2 arms at a time, and then I've got to do 1 arm at a time with the biceps, unless I was to put the weight back on and then take it back off again, which is just a mission. So that's basically the 3 exercises I do on my arm and chest session here at home. Now, sometimes, because I do more than 1 arm and chest session at home anyway, but sometimes when I'm doing the biceps, I like to do the hammer curl style biceps. So instead of being like this, you twist your arm and you're like this. And that apparently hits a muscle that's underneath your bicep. So it's just another muscle in there, and apparently working that muscle kind of pushes your other bicep up and can make your bicep, you know, appear bigger. But in my mind, it's just another muscle in your arm that you're able to work just by making that small change. So sort of every other bicep workout I do it here at home, I like to switch to the hammer curls. So now on a Monday evening, I'll go to the gym and do a leg session. And a leg session it's weird because it's probably my least favourite workout in the gym. I know a lot of people don't find legs very fun. I mean, working out shouldn't be fun, it should be painful, right? But yeah, I'm definitely in that camp. You know, I don't enjoy doing legs, but then for some reason, it's the one workout that I seem to put the most effort into, and the one that I'm more reluctant to sort of pussy out of in terms of like dropping the reps or the weights that I'm doing, right? And it's probably the longest session that I do as well, because there's 6 machines in total. One thing I should mention as well, like before I do any lifting in the gym, I do go on the treadmill, and I don't run on the treadmill anymore, basically because I do a lot of cardio and a lot of running in my boxing classes, which I like to do twice a week. But also running on the treadmill, I find that nowadays when I get to a mile or even less, the bottom of my back starts hurting. So I think like my technique or my form when I'm running on the treadmill isn't ideal, and I've read online that that can be the case because, you know, the treadmill's moving on its own, so you're not really like using the muscles you would be if you were running and pushing yourself forward. So when I do my warm-up on the treadmill, I just do a very steep, you know, I put it on 10 incline on the treadmill, and go very fast, like brisk walk speed. I normally start off at around 5 on the speed, and I used to end up at 7, but nowadays I only get to like 6 or 6.5, because I found that, you know, I'm just sort of like straining, it feels like I'm straining muscles behind my shin, which is weird. Not my calf, you know, it feels like the back of my shin hurt. So yeah, I don't go quite as fast anymore, but you know, I do that for like 0.6 of a mile, which doesn't sound like a lot, but because you're going so steep and so fast, it's enough to sort of get you, you know, almost not out of breath, but you know, you're breathing a bit, say, and it gets you a bit of a sweat on, and it means that your body's warm, so then you're less at risk of injury when you start lifting, right? Another thing I should mention as well, most people will say, and it's probably right, that you should do, you know, whenever you go onto any machine or any lift in the gym or at home, you know, whatever, you should sort of start off with a set that's lighter than your working set before you then go into your heavy sets. I don't always do that. In fact, I rarely do that. But again, because I do relatively low weight and relatively high rep, I don't think it's that tragic to not do the warm-up sets. Sometimes I will, you know, if I feel like I've got like a little bit of an ache in a joint that I'm going to be working, then I will. You know, you just got to be sensible. You know, you've got to sort of feel what your body wants, right? Anyway, back to the leg session. So there's 6 machines in total. So I like to start. Sometimes I can't do it in like the ideal order because, you know, you're waiting for other people to get off the machine, and you know, sometimes you're better off just jumping on a machine that is free, because it will cut down the time you're in the gym, right? But my ideal order would be I'll go on to leg press first, and I don't know whether it's worth me saying the weights that I do, to be honest. I mean, I'll mention the weights if I can remember what weights I do on each machine, but don't focus too much on the weights that I'm mentioning. Focus more on the reps, right? You need to work out what weight you need to do to get whatever reps you want to do, right? So, you know, the weight is not important, right? It's the reps. So for instance, on the leg press, nowadays I'll do 235 pounds. And sorry that I don't know it in kilos. It's just that on the machines in our gym, the pounds are on the left. So that's the one that I've, you know, read, and that's the one that I memorize. So I do 235 pounds on the leg press, and I can currently barely bang out 10 reps at that weight. Funnily enough, when I was in the gym yesterday, because, you know, sometimes you feel stronger than others, I felt like I probably could add 1 rep to each of those sets, but I decided not to. I want to wait until it feels a little bit easier than it did yesterday. I mean, easier is the wrong word because it still feels super hard, before I add that 1 rep. So I'm doing 10 reps at 235 pounds, 3 sets of that, and then on my drop set, straight after the third set, I'll drop it down to 190 pounds, bang out a few reps. It's usually only 3 maximum, and then down to 160 pounds, and then bang out a few reps. Again, it's usually only 3 maximum. Now, in an ideal world, after the leg press, I like to jump on the leg curl, and on the leg curl at the moment, I'm doing 160 pounds, and again, I can barely knock out 10 reps at 160 pounds. To be honest, up until quite recently, I would get to my third set and I'd only be able to hit 8 or 9 reps. I wouldn't be able to hit the 10 reps. And, you know, I'd reach failure and then I'd go into my drop sets. But yeah, lately I have been able to get the 10 reps on each set. So, you know, I'm a good few months away from adding a rep to the sets of the leg curl. But, you know, I've noticed that progression. And again, on my drop sets, I go down to 190 and then drop it to 160. Then after that, I like to go on to the leg extension, and I'm again doing 160 pounds on that, the same as I do on the leg curl, but I am banging out 15 reps on all 3 sets on the leg extension. It's worth noting as well, on the leg extension and the leg curl, you can sort of adjust things, like obviously the backrest, you know, you adjust it so that it's comfortable and so that your knees are sort of at the edge of the seat, but also you can like adjust where the tension is in the range of motion. So, you know, there's a lot you can play about with. But yeah, so on the leg extension, I'm doing 15 reps on all 3 sets at 160 pounds. And then on the drop sets, I'm dropping it down to 130 pounds and then to 100 pounds. And those 3 machines on the legs, on my leg day, I like to bang out those 3 first because I consider those the more difficult of the 6 that I do, right? And the leg press, I like to do that first in an ideal world because it really does take a lot out of me. Like, yeah, it's a killer. Like, it's one of them ones where you sort of notice when you forget to sort of breathe on every rep. After the set, I feel like I've, you know, run a marathon. Like, I'm knackered, like, you know, in terms of aching in the legs, but also like my breathing and stuff. So yeah, they're the first 3 that I like to do. After that, I like to jump on the calf press, which, you know, obviously does your calves, and yeah, I go quite heavy on that, but quite high rep as well. I found in the past that the calf press, it just seemed like I was able to like go up and up and up a weight like every session. And it's probably because I'm not doing the correct form, right? But you know, there it is. So that's why now I sort of strictly stick to where I'm at now, which is 235 pounds, the same weight that I do on the leg press. But I end up banging out 20 reps on it on all 3 sets. So again, it kind of feels like I should go up a weight. But yeah, I kind of just think that I'm only able to do that weight and that rep because of bad form. So, you know, I'd rather just stay where I'm at and just focus on, you know, doing sort of slower reps and, you know, on the way down, just like sort of lower it slower, and just try and add progressive overload that way, because, you know, it's not just weight and reps that you can do to sort of add progressive overload. There's things you can do to make each rep more difficult, and therefore put under more strain without adding weight and without adding reps. And if you're able to make it more difficult without adding weight, then you're doing it in a way that's less prone to injury in theory, right? So yeah, 20 reps, 235 pounds, and then the drop sets I go 190 pounds and 160, and I can normally do about between 7 and 10 reps on the drop set on the calves as it happens. After that, I like to go on, there's two machines, one's called hip abduction and one's called hip adduction, and I don't know which one's which, but basically one of them, you sit there and you force your legs open against some pads that are here, and then one of them, you know, you sit like this and you force your legs closed against some pads. And one of them I do 110 pounds for the 3 sets, which are 15 rep sets, and on the other one I do 120 pounds for the 3 sets, 15 reps again. And then the 2 drop sets, I can't really remember the weights, to be honest. It's just a couple of notches down, bang out 10 reps, you know, or whatever the failure is, a couple of notches down, bang out 10 reps, or whatever it is to failure. So that's the 6 machines that I do on a leg day. Like to get that out of the way on a Monday. And yeah, that brings me on to Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, obviously after my walk, etc., I do an ab session. So 3 exercises, 2 sets as usual. I normally do sit-ups for the first exercise, and then for the second exercise I'll pick up my really light dumbbells. They're like 5 pounds each. I've got 2 of them, and I do the Russian twists. So you sit on the floor with your legs up like this, and you just put the weight either side like this, and I normally do 25 on each side, so 50 in total. And yeah, that's a killer, and it kind of hurts my back as well, but yeah, it sort of doesn't sound difficult, but try it. You know, it's hard, and that's one thing that we do in boxing class as well. And then the third exercise on my abs day is I use Alexa to give me a 30-second countdown, and then basically I lay on the floor and just lift my legs off the ground, keep my legs straight, lift them off the ground about this much, and just hold them there for 30 seconds until Alexa, the alarm goes off, and then drop my legs, and then obviously do those 3 exercises again. Now on a Tuesday evening, it's actually Tuesday today, I do my first boxing class of the week. Now boxing classes are a killer. Like, they are way harder than any gym session. One boxing class is probably harder than 2 weeks worth of gym sessions. It's unreal. Like, it is unreal. It's amazing that I'm even able to get through them. But when you do get through them, you just feel amazing. Like, you know, boxing classes are by far the thing that are making me the fittest out of everything I do. You know, we start off with a warm-up which involves a load of running and push-ups and jumping jacks and sit-ups and whatnot, and yeah, loads of stuff. Like, you're absolutely knackered at the end of the warm-up. Do a load of sprinting as well, like while we're running around. Like, now and again he'll sort of tell us to sprint, and then, you know, we do a load of technical stuff, you know, punching the bags and punching the pads and stuff like that. And then, you know, we'll eventually go into some body sparring. Sometimes we'll do head sparring in the ring as well. There's a lot of circuit training that gets thrown into the boxing class as well. A lot of groundwork, you know, with ab sessions and push-ups and whatnot. It's savage. Like, the boxing classes are savage. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, I absolutely love it. It's mad. After one of my boxing classes last week, my coach actually said that I inspire him, which is amazing. And I was very quick to tell him that I consider that my boxing coaches have been a big part of saving my life. You know, they are a big part of me living this new, clean and healthy life. But yeah, so Tuesday evening I do my first boxing class of the week. On a Wednesday morning, my workout here at home is push-ups, sit-ups and shrugs. Yeah, quite explanatory, you know, push-ups, sit-ups and the shrugs. I used to use the bar with, you know, relatively a lot of weight on it, you know, and shrug like this. You know, it all works your traps up here. But nowadays, I like to use the dumbbells. Admittedly, it's lighter, but I find that because your arms are like this instead of like this, you know, you're sort of able to sort of get further up to your ears. So, you know, I end up doing more reps than I would with a bar, but I end up feeling like I've got more of a pump in my traps. So yeah, that's what I do. On a Wednesday evening, I go in the gym and do a back and shoulder session. So after my, very fast, very steep incline walk, I like to first go on the pull-ups, and I do assisted pull-ups, right? So the machine basically essentially takes weight off of your body, right? So, I personally put it on 40 pounds, right? So in theory, because the machines are never actually like accurate in terms of weight or whatever, they're just a representation, they're just a scale, right? So in theory, when I do, I normally do between 8 and 10 reps on the pull-ups, to be fair. So it's not really within my 10 to 15 rep range. In an ideal world, I do 10 reps, but I put it on 40 pounds. So that basically means that I'm lifting my body weight minus 40 pounds. And yeah, I bang out, as I say, between 8 and 10 reps on the 3 sets. And then when I do the drop set, you're actually going up in weight, if that makes any sense, because you go up to 60, which means it's your body weight minus 60 pounds, and then bang out a few reps. I can normally do like 5, and then go down, although it is up, to 80, so it's your body weight minus 80 pounds, and then bang out another few reps to failure, and that's the assisted pull-up done. Then I'll ideally, straight after that, I'll jump on the rear delt machine. So your rear delts are like the back of your shoulders, so it's a machine where you're like this, and then you're pulling it back like this. That same machine, you can actually sit on it the other way around and do like a chest fly as well. That's not the chest fly machine that I use in the gym, but yeah, it has got that dual purpose. So yeah, I do the rear delt, and I think nowadays I do 190 pounds on that, and I normally do 15 reps per set, but I've noticed the last couple of times that I'm hitting 20 reps on the first set, and then doing 15, and then I'll do my 2 drop sets, obviously. From 190, I'd probably go down to 160 for my first drop set, and then go to failure, and then I'd probably go down to 130 pounds for my second drop set. Now, the reason I don't sort of go up a weight, or the reason I'm a bit reluctant to go up a weight, even though I'm hitting 20 reps on the first set of that, is that one injury that just doesn't go away, I've got it today, is this shoulder injury. And it's basically because my boxing is so intense on my shoulders, so I've always got a bit of an ache in my shoulders, and I like to try and do a load of this, just try and like at least once a day rotate my shoulders, and I make sure that I do a load of that before my boxing classes as well, and I make sure that my shoulder workouts are super light, as you'll hear later on in this video. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of reluctant to go any heavier on that rear delt, because it does strain your shoulder as well, even though it's supposed to hit sort of the back of your shoulder, and you do feel it in your traps as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm probably already doing too heavy on the rear delt based on the fact that I've got achy shoulder, but I can't go any lighter. Then I'll be doing like 25-30 reps, which I think is too much. So after the rear delt, I then go on to, I think it's called diverging seated row. So you've got a thing that you pull in like this, and it's not like one on a cable, it's like on an arm, which I think is why it's called diverging seated row. I don't know. So it's got 2 handles, some that go like this, and then some that go like this. And I like to put my seat up really high on this machine, and it forces me then to be pulling it, right in here, which I find helps it to aim the strain at my lower bits down here. So the what are they called? Lats? Yeah, the lats. So I'll set it to 90 pounds for the 3 sets, but I normally end up banging 15 reps like this, and then straight away I'll go to the other handles, and they sort of feel like they hit more up top, but because I'm already exhausted from doing these ones, I can only normally hit at 5 reps. So yeah, it's normally 15 reps and then 5 reps at 90 pounds for the 3 sets. And then for my drop sets, I can't remember the weights I do, I just go down a couple of notches, go to failure. It might only be 10 reps, and then I need 3 reps, and then down a couple of other notches, and then go to failure. And then I'll move on to shoulders here, because it's a backhand shoulder session. And as I've already mentioned, I go super light, super careful on the shoulders, and there's 2 shoulders machines, and I only do nowadays 1 set on each of them. One of them is the lateral raise. Is it called lateral raise? I think it's called lateral raise, where you're sitting in the thing like this, and you've got pads that sit against your forearms there, and you lift them up like that. Sometimes I'll do one arm at a time, just because I feel like I'm a bit too big to get in there and squeeze like this. So I'll just do one arm at a time, and I'm doing literally like 60 pounds on that. I used to do 90 or 100 pounds, but nowadays I do 60 pounds. Admittedly, it does mean that I end up doing a load of reps, whereas I used to probably only do 10 reps. You know, I'm probably getting up to, you know, somewhere between 15 and 20 reps. But whatever failure is, you know, utter failure, like, because I'm only doing the one set, no drop sets, nothing, you know, literally just do to failure. And then to failure. Although it's worth noting, in situations where I'm doing one arm at a time, I will actually do my left arm first, because it's my weaker arm, because then whatever that gets to at failure, you match it with your right arm, rather than going to failure on your right arm and then you not being able to match it on your left arm, and then you're just going to progressively make your strong arm even more strong compared to your weak arm over time. So yeah, just to balance it out. So yeah, and then I go on the shoulder press machine, which, you know, is literally just lifting the thing up like that. And again, that one's got two handles, so you can either lift it like that or like that. I go to like 50 pounds on this machine. Again, super light, only one set. I start off with this handle, because I find that when you get to failure on that one, you've still got a few reps in the tank to do this one. Whereas if you do it the other way around, it takes more reps to get to failure doing this, and then you just ain't even able to bang out one on there. So I can't remember what reps I normally get up to on that. I think it might be about 12, you know, on this one, and I think I'm able to hit another 3 to 5 on this one. But yeah, go to failure, one set, and that is it. That's my back and shoulder session done. Now on Thursday morning, after my walk, of course, I do a leg session here at home, and it's nowhere near as intense as my Monday evening leg session in the gym. As I mentioned, my sessions here at home aren't as intense as the gym ones, and I used to do squats with a bar on my back. I don't know what the weight is, to be honest. It's kind of irrelevant. I think it's about 30 kilos. Let's have a look. All right, so it's 30 kilos on my bar here at home, plus the bar. So yeah, not very heavy, you know, nowhere near as heavy as like what I do on the leg press on the machines in the gym, even though I've heard they're not accurate, as I've already mentioned, they're just a representation. So yeah, I used to do, as part of my leg session here at home, squats with the bar. I used to do like 15 reps, you know, and then I used to go straight into doing calf raises. You know, I used to literally keep the bar on my back and do squats, calves, just to save me putting the bar down. But what I noticed is that when I then put the bar down, I was feeling a lot of strain in my shoulders and stuff, just where I'd had all that weight on my back with my arms like this for a long time. So nowadays I actually do lunges instead of squats with the heavy dumbbells. I'll just tell you what I have on the heavy dumbbells. Yeah, so about 10 kilos in each hand is what I have on my dumbbells. That's what I do when I do the biceps as well. And when I've in the past done my triceps by reducing the weight, then I end up having 8 kilos on the dumbbell. So yeah, 10 kilos in each hand anyway. And I do lunges nowadays, and then I use the same, you know, 10 kilos in each hand to do calf raises, where you just literally stand there and just keep going up onto your toes. And then my third exercise on a leg day here at home, even though it's technically a back exercise, is deadlift with the bar. Again, only the 30 kilos on there, not super heavy. Normally bang out between 10 and 15 reps in each set, and you know, I don't try and get too close to failure, as I never do at home, as I already mentioned, but especially with the deadlift, because you know, my form is probably not perfect, and you know, you're literally working your lower back, so if you get that wrong, you'll end up as a cripple. But because I don't do any deadlift or anything in the gym, I at least do that once a week here at home, albeit very light. So that's my leg session at home, although it is kind of legs and back. And then on a Thursday evening in the gym, I do arms and chest. And in my gym arm and chest sessions, after I do my very fast, very steep incline walk, there's 5 machines. And I switch up the order of these, to be honest. Lately, I've been trying to do the chest stuff first. Sometimes I'll try and do the bicep stuff first, because yeah, I find that if I'm really fatigued, I don't really perform well. You know, I'm not able to do the reps and stuff that I'd like to. So basically 5 machines. So the chest press, where you're literally in a seat, the one that I use at the gym, and yeah, chest press like that. It's on the arms, so you know it's kind of emulating you doing a bench press, right? But you're sitting up. So and I normally, if I remember rightly, do 115 pounds on that. And on my first set, I'm normally able to hit 15 reps, and then it kind of just goes down for the second and third set. So maybe sort of 12 on the second and 9 on the third, and then I'll do the 2 drop sets as usual. Can't remember the weights. I think it's like 85 pounds for the first drop set and then 55 pounds for the second drop set. So again, you know, not super heavy weight at all, but trying to fall somewhere in the 10 to 15 rep range on the actual 3 working sets. Then there's the pec fly, which is where you got your arms like this, and you know you got pads on your arms and you force them together like that. And as I've already mentioned in the video, there is another sort of pec fly in the gym, which is the same as the rear delt machine, where you're more, you know, the handles come down like this and you hold them in your hands, and then it's more of a like this motion. But yeah, I used to really like that machine. I used to really feel it in my chest. But again, because of the shoulder injuries or the shoulder issues I have, I find that one really does strain my shoulder injury. I mean, I can feel it even doing that now, just showing you. Whereas this one, I find doesn't. You know, it will if I go stupidly heavy on the weight, but yeah, I find that's better. And for some reason, I've got weaker on this pec fly. Again, might be because of these shoulder issues, or just because I'm not doing as much training on my shoulders, so my shoulders might be technically weaker, just where I'm trying to keep them more supple for boxing, you could say. So lately I've been doing about 80 pounds, I think, on the pec fly. And yeah, it's another one where my first set I'm able to bang out way more reps than the others. So I normally get to about 10 or 12 on the first set, and then it might be sort of 10 on the second set and 8 on the third set, for instance. And then again, do my 2 drop sets. Can't remember what weights. I normally just knock it down a couple of pegs. I think each peg on that one is 10 pounds. So if I'm doing 80 or 90 pounds, then the first drop set will either be 60 or 70 pounds, and then 40 or 50 pounds, I guess, on the second drop set. So also on my arm and chest session in the gym, we've got the triceps extensions, where you've got your hands in this thing like this, and yeah, you're kind of leaning forward and straightening your arms like this. And I like to do 140 pounds on that machine, and it really does vary how many reps I'm able to do. Again, sometimes just depends on how strong I am. You know, you have good and bad days, or it can depend on, you know, whereabouts in my arm and chest session I'm on that machine. But yeah, you know, try and get somewhere between 10 and 15 reps. Sometimes it might be sort of 8. And yeah, again, 2 drop sets after that, just a couple of pegs down for each drop set. I think each peg on that is 10 pounds as well. So if I do 140 pounds on my 3 sets, then I'll go down to 120, bang it out till failure, then go to 100, bang it out till failure. Other than that, we've got the seated dips. So you've got these arms sticking out like this, and it kind of forces you to lean forward because the sort of angle of the backrest, and then you push these arms down like that, so you're just extending your arms. Normally do 150 pounds on that, and I do like to try and do 15 reps. And this is one of them ones where when I'm in the gym, I just tell myself, right, today I'm only doing 100 pounds, you know, I'm going to go super light. And then I get on there and then my ego sets in and just won't allow me to do less. But, you know, sometimes if I feel that it's hurting my shoulder, because that is the machine that sort of hurts my sort of shoulder niggles the most out of anything. So if I do feel like that it's straining it, then I will drop it down to 120, you know, do less reps or whatever. But I aim for 15 reps per set, and then obviously my 2 drop sets, again, just a couple of pegs down, go to failure, a couple of pegs down, go to failure. And then the other machine on the arm and chest day is the bicep curl. And, you know, you're literally leaning over on this thing and, you know, curling your biceps. Some people actually do that machine one arm at a time. I don't. I just do both arms. I do 120 pounds, and again, aim for 15 reps. Normally I'll hit 15 reps on the first set, and then the second and third set, yeah, I won't hit 15 reps. You know, I might hit 12 and then 10, and then again 2 drop sets, a couple of pegs down, go to failure, a couple of pegs down, go to failure. And on the arm and chest session, or on any session, but on the arm and chest session especially, if I'm able to, or willing to, stay in the gym for an hour and a half or so and give myself a massive rest between each set, then I can hit all the reps that I'd like to. But nowadays I like to try and get in and out of the gym. Like, in my mind, you know, again, I'm not trying to wring every single percentage of gains out of every session, right? You know, I just want to go to failure on each set, and then I know that I've worked my muscles hard and I come out of there with a nice pump. But yeah, if I was to leave more rest between the sets, then I would be able to bang out those 15 reps on every set. But, you know, if you go in there and leave a smaller rest, you know, you're doing less reps, but as long as you're going to ultimate failure on each set, I don't think you're missing out much. And, you know, you can be in and out of the gym in an hour rather than spending an hour and a half or more in there. So, you know, that's the philosophy I take. And when I go to the gym with Kat, because we'll both go on a machine, you know, bang out a set, then swap, bang out a set, then swap, bang out a set, you know, you're inevitably getting less rest. You know, you might be hitting a different muscle, but, you know, your body's still fatigued. So in them situations, we get through the session way quicker, obviously, because if I was on my own, I would be doing a set, resting, doing a set, resting, doing a set, and then going on to another machine. Whereas if there's two of you and you're like sort of just, your rest of this machine is you working on this machine, you're able to get through it twice as quick, but you are more prone to not being able to hit the reps because, you know, as I say, even if you're hitting a different muscle, you're still like fatigued in general in your body. But when we do those sessions, we get in and out of the gym sometimes in 40 minutes, and yeah, you come out feeling really pumped, even though technically you've done less reps. So, you know, it's not all about hitting, you know, all the reps each time. It's all about, in my opinion, you know, just going to failure on every set and coming out feeling like you've worked really hard. So that's the Thursday evening arm and chest session, and that's all my gym sessions done for the week. I only do 3 gym sessions a week and 2 boxing classes, and then all the other stuff is sort of home workouts. So on a Friday morning, I'll do a back session here at home, and I'll start by doing bent over rows with a bar. So you literally bend over and then you pull the bar like this, and it kind of hits your lats or traps or whatever, your back basically. And then I'll sort of bend right over with the dumbbells and holding them like this and sort of like that. So it's kind of like a rear delt, although a rear delt machine is like that. So it's sort of like that. And if you keep your arms bent and kind of pull it from your shoulder blades, it kind of strains like your whole back area basically. And then the third exercise on that back session on a Friday isn't really a back exercise at all, I don't think. But yeah, I do sort of a different variation on shrugs. So I'll get the heavy dumbbells and just sort of pull them up like this, and it kind of hits your upper back and trap area. So that's the 3 exercises on a Friday here at home. On a Friday evening, I don't go to the gym. I've done all my sessions for the week. A lot of the times, to be honest, I end up doing a session Friday evening because I've missed something in the week and everything's been pushed back. But, you know, officially Friday is a rest. And that's the ideal way to do it, really, because on Saturday at 12 noon I've got my boxing class. So I don't do any workout here at home on a Saturday morning, because my Saturday morning session, even though it is the afternoon, it's 12 noon, is my boxing class. And then in an ideal situation, on a Saturday evening, I'll bang out another arm and chest session, but here at home. And that's when, instead of doing the push-ups for the chest, I'll get my bench out and I'll do bench press. I normally have the bench inclined slightly, just because of something I watched on the internet at some point. I might be wrong, but I think it says it hits your upper chest more than your lower chest. I've always found that I've already got like a bit of shape there, you know. So yeah, when I first started training, I sort of didn't have this sort of line that goes here. So I think that's what I must have seen on the internet, and you know, they advise you to do the incline bench press. So that's what I do, and I get Kat to pass me the bar while I'm laying on the bench, and then when I get to failure, I get her to sort of help me with a couple of reps so that I'm able to get another couple of reps out. It's kind of like emulating a drop set, isn't it? And I'd say that my arm and chest session on the Saturday is probably the only session I do at home where I actually do try and go really close to failure, if not ultimate failure. But it is an evening session, whereas all my other sessions at home are in the morning. So that kind of does tie in. So yeah, I do bench press, and then I'll do some sort of triceps extensions. Again, if I can be bothered to change the weight on my dumbbells, I'll do this one. But because the bench is out, I can do the other one where I keep the weight heavy on the dumbbell and I'm able to do 2 arms at once, the one I showed you earlier, like this. But because you're hanging it off the bench, you're actually able to start from back here, because the floor's not in your way because you're on the bench. So that works really well. And then I'll bang out bicep curls. And yeah, as I've said, one of my bicep curl sort of workouts here at home per week will be the hammer ones. Sometimes I actually will, say on a Saturday, do the 2 sets of normal and then just do a 3rd set of hammer curls. But normally it's 2 sets of 3 exercises in my home workouts, including the arm and chest session here at home on a Saturday evening. Then on Sunday morning, I do shoulders here at home, and as I've already mentioned in this video, I go super, super, super light on the shoulders, just trying to save my shoulders for boxing. And I've got my ridiculously light dumbbells, and I normally do sort of lateral raises where you're sort of like that. I've sort of watched something online, because I used to do them just out to the side, but I'm sure I saw something online where it said you're better off doing them sort of with your arms bent and slightly in front of you. My form probably isn't great, but it hurts me shoulders, so it must be doing something right. And yeah, after that, I'll sit on the sofa here usually and do some shoulder press, again with the light dumbbells. There have been times where I'll do 100 reps of this. That's how light them dumbbells are. Lately, just because my shoulder has been a bit more achy than usual, then I don't bother. I normally bang out like 50 or 60 or something because they're that light. And then the 3rd shoulder exercise, sometimes I'll bend over and do like a rear delt. So, with my hands like this, so it's literally the same as that machine with the heavier stuff. But sometimes I'll just do sort of like 50 reps of punching out with the light dumbbells in my hand. And that really sort of, works your shoulders, gives you a nice burn on your shoulders. And yeah, just do those 3 exercises, 2 sets of each as usual with my home workouts. And yeah, that's my shoulders fried but not injured. I really, really do force myself to go super, super, super light with my shoulder stuff. And I'm kind of lucky because, like, even when I do a light shoulder workout like that, I do get quite a pump on. I do end up with quite a nice shape on my shoulders. So I'm kind of lucky, maybe due to genetics or maybe just due to my workouts in general. Maybe just a lot of the exercise I do maybe bring in the shoulders, maybe partly because my form is crap. So yeah, my shoulders, they don't seem like they're lacking, even though I'm going super light to look after them. So it works well. Ultimately you want to go hard on every workout. If you're not going hard, then what's the point? You're supposed to be pushing yourself. You're supposed to be like finding your limits, going beyond your limits, because then your body's going to want to put on muscle and grow so that you're able to deal with this strain that you're putting on yourself. But you don't want to injure yourself, especially if you're an old man like me. I'm 39 years old now, lived a waste man lifestyle up until my mid 30s. So yeah, I want to go hard, but I want to go careful. But yeah, on a Sunday evening, it's another rest. So to summarize, I do 3 sessions in the gym per week. I do, well, every morning I do a workout here at home, except for Saturday when I do my boxing class at 12 noon. Do 2 boxing classes a week. And you know what? That might all sound like a lot, but I truly believe that anyone could squeeze a workout plan like that into their lifestyle. I don't care how busy you are. I'm now very busy. I'm always on it. I'm always doing work, whether it be with my businesses or with my YouTube stuff or working on the cars or something to do with work or working out or whatever. I like to think I live a busy life, and if I'm honest with myself, even I could do all that again. Like if I was really strict with my time and I was really strict with getting up on time and I wasn't wasting any time, scrolling on social media, or, if I was really efficient with all my business stuff, I could do all that again times 2. So anyone can squeeze a workout plan like that into their lives. But look, you don't have to go that hard. At the end of the day, most people do nothing. And like I say, to me, fitness is the lowest hanging fruit. If you want to improve yourself in all areas of your life, start with your fitness. Start by turning yourself into the strongest human being that you can, because most people are living a life where their bar is so low. Just you doing like mediocre fitness, and I consider this to be quite mediocre, maybe at the top end of mediocre, you could say. But yeah, just by doing that, you'll be like leaps and bounds ahead of most people. And do you know what? It will help you in all areas of your life. You know, you'll look better, you'll feel better. You know, your mental health will be better. You know, and look, in an ideal world, you'll tie this into eating a healthier diet. But my diet isn't on point. My sleep isn't on point. You know, I'm living a way healthier life than I have in the past. You know, I don't take drugs, I don't drink, I don't smoke, like, etc., etc. Most days I'm eating chicken breast and vegetables or salad. You know, I'm having my protein shakes every day, and you know, I'm having supplements every day. You know, trying to drink a good amount of water a day, or at least having a load when I wake up and a load when I go to bed. You know, doing things for my mind like writing a gratitude journal and meditating. So, you know, when you look at the big picture, yes, I'm living quite a healthy life, but none of it's on point. You know, I'm not super lean. You know, I'm in the best shape of my life, but I could be doing way more. So, you know, a plan like this, I feel anyone can implement into their life. And you know, if you're doing nothing, then just implement something into your life every day. And you know, the walk around the block, which I do first thing in the morning, you know, although it is technically exercise, there's more to it than that. It's about getting sunlight into your eyes, which starts a load of biological clocks in your body, which helps a number of things, you know, that I've sort of studied online about, and probably a whole load of other things that scientists haven't discovered about yet. So, you know, that's one thing that I say to people. You know, if you want to lose weight, if you want to feel better, if you want to improve your life in any way, just get out there and go for a half a mile walk every morning. You know, my walk takes me 20 minutes. You know, wake up 20 minutes earlier, go for that walk. And then that's something. If you're not exercising, you're doing nothing, then that's something. Start there. But other than that, you know, eat plenty of protein. Don't eat crap. Don't overload yourself with carbs just because they fill you up. Focus on protein. Focus on getting some nutrients in you, like fruit and veg and stuff, and just lift some heavy shit up a little bit every day. You know, that's what I'd say is the bare minimum. But, you know, as I say, Seb asked me to send him my workout plan, and, you know, everything I've just discussed with you now would have been a very long to write out in an Instagram message. So, yeah, I thought I'd put it in this video. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments if there's anything I've missed out, or anything you want me to explain more. You know, I'll do my best. I'm not an expert, but, yeah, this is a plan that I live by. I don't get it perfect every week, but you know, this is the sort of regime that's got me in the shape that I'm in, which isn't perfect, but, you know, I feel a million times better than I ever have in any other time during my life, even though at this point I am getting on a bit. So look, that's the end of this video. Ironically, it's Tuesday evening and I need to get myself to my boxing class, and I've still actually got a little bit of work still on my MacBook, so I kind of do need to wrap this video up and then dive into that. But yeah, until the next video, massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.